Well, it's about that time, Guardians. About time to wrap Friday up. I hope that this afternoon's show has been worthwhile, worth your time, and interesting. I wanted to wrap up by sharing a little bit more of myself with you. Since today's focus has been on safety and awareness, I can tell you that I have been burned, surgically burned, and that recovery was excruciating many years ago. I worked a little over a year at the Institute of Surgical Research at the burn unit, and I can tell you that the videos that you saw are very representative of the type of patients that I dealt with. I've also worked on medevacs, dealing with transfer patients, stabilization patients. In addition to that, we moved on into sexual harassment, sexual abuse, sexual assault. And you should have gotten some briefings today on EO. As a soldier in 1984 at the 24th Infantry Division, I can tell you as a young 18-year-old private about sexual harassment. I was the proverbial Private Benjamin. Had to have my nails painted camouflage. They had to be complementary to the uniform. And back then, red and pink were the only things that were considered complementary to the uniform. So, the little rebel that I am, I painted my nails camouflage to match my uniform, and I argued that point a lot. I also wore more makeup than I wear now. I always did my hair. So I was constantly the target of sexual harassment of men that didn't appreciate women in the Army back then. I had a first sergeant that would go so far as to have midnight inspections of my room. Now, that first sergeant never breached my trust, but being as naive as I was at 18, it could have gotten that way quickly. My sexual harassment stories, and I do have several, began when I was about 15 years old. That was the first incident. And I'm not going to discuss that one with you, but I will discuss one that happened with you when I was 17. I went to a party, and like most high school parties, lots of drinking, and I had my fill. In fact, I got to the point where, you start doing the spinning thing, and I went and laid down, and I woke up to being gang raped by several of my so-called friends. It's still hard for me to deal with to this day. And with Facebook, I've run across a few of those individuals and have yet been able to talk to them about it. But I will one day. The most recent event happened to me on August 12th. And I'm just now coming to terms, a place of acceptance. I've got a sheriff's report out, and I've talked to CID and the MPs about it. And pretty much I've gotten no help. Now it's an IG case. It involves some other issues, but to let you know what happened, I woke up in my house, and my pillow was soaked with urine and blood. And I went downstairs, and my front door was unlocked. And as I went outside, I noticed my trash can was open, and all my trash was gone. And when I got into my husband's pickup, somebody had been inside of this pickup and messed around with our CDs and put different CDs in the CD player. I had other things to tend to, military matters. So when I got on post and I told the CID about what had happened, well, they were more concerned about the military matters than helping me seek medical attention. And throughout the day, I had come across several military officers and high-ranking NCOs that also were more concerned with the military matters than what had happened to me, to include 3 Corps chaplains. It was very difficult for me to deal with. I drove to my parents that night, not feeling safe in my home, to go get mentorship. And even my parents were more tied up in the military matters than they were with what happened to me. So I was sent home, back to a house where I did not feel safe. Back where I wasn't quite sure what the hell happened. I removed the sheets off my bed and the pillow and pillowcase, and I slept without sheets for weeks. I slept downstairs. I can tell you that dealing with just accepting is hard. You don't feel safe. And as a woman, it's not an external experience, it's an internal experience. And then it turns into a mental experience, where you're always looking over your shoulder, where you're wondering what people's agendas are. And you find out that nobody believes you. Nobody wants to deal with it. They don't want to think about it. They don't want to hear it. They block you out. There's very little compassion for a sexual assault or rape victim. So, thank God, in a strange way, I had to pull from my past experiences. And it was my military training that got me through. Stay mission focused. Find a mission. Stay true. Be true to yourself. Remember who you are. And if I'm the only one that can help me survive this, then that's the way it'll be. Because even my own physician told me, because I didn't go to her till after the 72-hour period, that there was nothing that she could do to help me. The only proof I have are my sheets and a very bloody pillowcase. I had bruises all over my arms because I had been held down, and bruises on my legs because I had been held down. And I will get past this. And I'm going to have a cry. It's coming. I know it is. It's been almost 6 weeks. And when I do, I'm going to stand up and brush myself off, and I'm going to be okay. But there are victims out there every day, and you don't know who they are. And if you say the wrong thing or you flirt with them the wrong way, you bring all of that flooding back to them. They get scared. They get defensive. They get quiet. And you've just created them to have flashbacks that they don't need to have. And although you're not the cause of it, you are a catalyst to that. So remember, friendly fire isn't friendly. And that includes sexual harassment. Yeah, that leads me. Excuse me, my nose is running. It happens when I get teary-eyed. That leads to suicide. And suicide prevention, since that's on the agenda as well. Little over 40% of all sexual assault, rape victims experience suicidal thoughts. I can tell you that I have struggled with that for most of my life. And there are times that you cannot deal with the mental trauma of it all. It's too much. I can tell you 100 different ways you can kill yourself. Have I tried them? No. But I have asked God many, many times to relieve me of this life. And the reason being is because sometimes mentally it's just too much. I sit here and look at my face doing videos for y'all, and sometimes, you know, it's great. I can see that I'm healing and I'm doing better. And then there's other times, like right now with this video, that I can see it marked on my face. And I know that I'm the only one who can reach out and hold me. That my husband is having a hell of a time trying to deal with what has happened to me. His trauma is something I can't help him with because I have my own to go through. And if this happens to your battle buddy, you're going to go through the same thing. So it's not just the victim that's impacted. So pay attention to suicide awareness. A battle buddy can't always help you. Sometimes that internal voice inside you has to be your battle buddy. And the only place that you're going to be able to get in touch with that battle buddy is in front of a mirror. You need to look at that precious child inside. Because your sexual assaulter or rapist can never take that baby girl or baby boy away from you. Ever. And it is your job to look in the mirror and tell that baby girl and that baby boy that you will get them through this. That is your number one suicide prevention. Never forget that. Because your battle buddy, your chaplain, your doctors, even your parents, they can't keep you from throwing a razor to your wrist or bringing a gun with a bullet in it up to your mouth and shooting yourself. Or putting yourself in a car and closing your garage and creating carbon monoxide poisoning on yourself. They can't always be there in those moments. And even if they can't stop you if that's really what you want to do. Your pain can't be understood by anybody but you. So, remember that you owe it to that inner child to be your number one suicide preventer. When you're feeling like that, you go look in the damn mirror, and I know it hurts. But you tell that precious innocent inside you, you will see them through this. Your arm is strong. You've got everything you need. The government does whatever the hell the government does, but the Army gave you what you need to survive. Even this. So know your oracle loves you. And if I can get through it, you can get through it. So you have a fabulous Friday night. I hope there's music and joy in it for you. And I'll see you in the morning show tomorrow. I love you. Your oracle.